Southwest Airlines, Hawker Hunter, TCAS RA.
Nice.
How
How
far was that?
How
many units of measurement?
8,000. Hold on.
8,000.
Stuff's moving too fast.
Yeah, 8,748 lateral, 1,000. So what is that? A mile? A little over a mile and 1,000 feet?
Well, let it get closer, right? It
says it on the screen. Watch. Somebody.
Oh.
Right there.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So the story is,
why would anybody fill out the 7.3? It's a good question.
Well, that's a great question. On departure from, where are they in? John Wayne, Orange County, one of those two? At the same place? I don't remember. I hated going to California. Anyway, on departure, TCAS RA resulted in quote unquote passengers hitting their head on the ceiling. A flight attendant was injured.
That sucks.
They complied with the RA and then continued on their merry way. They were talking to LA ARTCC, and it became news because one of the famous Twitterers was on that and said that he also hit his head. And my question, first of all, does no one listen to safety briefings? Because they're pretty sure they tell you, unless you're going to the lab, which is the lavatory, which is the toilet where you do your number one, number two.
Please just do number one. Please.
Just keep your seatbelt on.
Yes.
Keep your seatbelt on, tight across your lap, because it's a lap belt. And if you have to have an extender, keep them both tight. But you won't hit your head on the ceiling for stuff like this.
It's almost impossible.
Wombat, your thoughts?
Watch what pilots and flight attendants do when they're deadheading in the back. You don't see them with their seatbelts off.
Please don't.
You're not going to. Well, don't watch me because I'm usually in uniform sleeping, which I'm sure they love as I'm drooling. But the point I'm getting at is, like, if you see a pilot or flight attendant that's deadheading in the back, they have their seatbelt on for a reason. Maybe mimic that. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's part of the issue here is that people just get too comfortable. And I mean, they're going over mountainous terrain. I don't know how high they were, in typical Wombat fashion.
14,000 feet, 14,000 feet. Doug's got
how high is that above the ground? I don't know, roughly.
I mean, probably it's above 10.
So they double dinged them. I'm assuming that Southwest procedures are the same as ours and everybody else's. They double dinged them.
Within 2 seconds, it felt like the ride of terror. We fell 20 to 30 feet in the air, screaming. It was terrified. We really thought we were plummeting to a plane crash. Okay, Doug, highlight that first. Go back up. Highlight that for a second. Remember last week we talked about the captain of that SkyWest thing doing an entire PA on the ground about what happened? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Exhibit A of why that's a bad idea. It's because these people have no idea what is going on. And when you tell them stuff like 20 to 30 feet, if it had been 20 to 30 feet, you know what that would have been like? Nothing. That's imperceptible in an aeroplane. Going, whatever, probably 300 knots, 290. Well, Southwest, so they're probably doing barber pole
600 knots
out the way.
But still, even more so. You're going that fast. 20 feet's nothing. I mean,
come on. Okay. Anyway, back to your. Sorry, Wombat. You were saying.
Well, but I was going to say the same thing on that quote. That quote proves that the people sitting in the back, whether it's because of their knowledge, which is fine. There are plenty of professions out there, which, Mover, you and I had a discussion about one commenter that was fantastic and then went into telling me how I was a horrible pilot on YouTube from my comments, which was awesome.
Not that you're holding a grudge or anything. Go on.
Well, it's ridiculous because the point being is, like, I'm not going to go to, like, Patrick Mahomes and tell him how to play football, right? Like, there are people and there are professionals in those fields. I am not going to walk up to those people and be like, let me tell you something. I know better than you, because you don't. So if you do that, you're immediately showing your stupidity. But then you get comments like this that are, of course, going to get quoted, because as a news reporter, of course, you are going to quote that. Why? Because they put a distance so it quantifies it. And the news reporter doesn't know what they're reporting. So they're like 20 to 30 feet. Oh, my goodness. Put it in there. That's going to be great because numbers. People love numbers. They love numbers. And everybody that's used to it is like 20 or 30 feet. Like, dude, you wouldn't even, like, would that have even kicked the autopilot off?
I
Like,
think it
don't-
was a couple 100 feet though.
I'm sure it was. That's my point.
What I think
So-
actually happened is a little bit too aggressive on the TCAS RA,
Probably.
a push, and everybody went, oh, as they.
But I have a theory on that. And we've talked about this. You and I have not talked about this in this case, but we've talked about this with other cases. TCAS in commercial airliners was not designed for fast moving aircraft.
Correct.
So there's a very good, like the way
Mhm.
we train in the airline world with TCAS. I don't know how you guys are, but usually in our sim, it's like you see the thing pop up on the screen and you're like,
There he is.
so we'll deal with that. What are we doing after this maneuver? Oh, and then it's like traffic. And you're like, yep, he's still coming. Like, well, we're going to do this procedure if it goes to, and then it's like climb, so it happens, but that's because the planes are coming at reasonable airline speed, not to say that a Hawker Hunter is the most dynamic of jet aircraft, but it's
doing 300 and something knots.
Yeah, it's not a slow airplane is my point. So what probably happened, I'm guessing, is that the TCAS went from what's normal and what we're trained to maybe a little bit quicker of an iteration, and it caused maybe a hair of an overreaction. And honestly, I probably would have done the same thing because you're used to that cadence. Then all of a sudden it's like, traffic descend or traffic climb, descend. Like it's trying to figure out what to do because it's trying to figure out a trajectory that it really wasn't designed to figure out. So,
Gonky, what do you think?
At the end of the day, they didn't hit the plane.
Well, I know that with the autopilot off, trying to fly straight and level with all of my brain power, I'm probably going up and down 20 or 30 feet for sure.
100%.
So, because I'm just
100%.
chasing that little flight path marker, right? So 20 or 30 feet, like you guys are saying, dude, come on. You can't.
You're
tell.
not.
I mean, dude, this is in my mind sensationalism. Okay, Southwest 73 had a TCAS event, and the system worked exactly like it's supposed to work, and they missed a potential midair with a Hawker Hunter, and everyone's fine. And it
Well, not everybody.
Well,
hospital.
people aren't. There wasn't a terrible plane crash, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
So, and what you guys are saying about the whole seatbelt thing, I'm guilty of this because when I was younger, I flew a lot because I lived overseas. And I remember one time, specifically when I was a little kid, we were flying on Air France 74 over the Atlantic, and that thing just dropped out of the sky. I don't know, we hit some crazy, and I was I mean, I think I was probably 8. Coolest thing ever. I'm floating in the air, and then the airplane boom hit, and all the masks came down, and people were screaming, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Is that why you mimic that on your landings now?
That's my carrier pilot, but people screamed because it was quite a fall,
Yeah.
and boom, we hit, and we were fine, and then people were normal. I don't ever remember reading anything about it in the newspaper. Not that I could read at that age, but you
read at 8 years old.
Tweener, but it's kind of like Mover was.
No can.
Buy Gonky's books. They're coloring books, just so we're clear.
There's a reason.
Pictures only.
But it's like the story we covered last week, a movie you touched on it, how the captain made this long diatribe. So everyone now is any speed bump you hit up there. Oh, we almost died. I was petrified. And I'm not taking away.
I was petrified.
And I'm not taking away from the people that actually were injured, but back to the seatbelt thing, you have to realize that we turn the seatbelt sign off when we're pretty sure it's going to be a smooth ride.
And you're level.
And we're level. And how do we determine whether it's going to be a smooth ride? Well, the airplanes.
Delta gives you a ride report every 4 minutes.
So light chop. That's how I check in. Light chop. Just to cover my butt. So, it's the airplanes in front of us will give a ride report. And then when we check in with a new center frequency, a lot of times they pass us the ride report. So
you don't have taps?
I don't even know what that is, dude.
No, I promise you, he does not have any.
I don't know what that is. Listen, I'm in my dude.
The right flyer over here with 20 people on the wing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys not check in with center? Do you guys is this all automated
CPDLC,
now? And
dude.
I'm
We're
still doing it.
talking. Yeah, we're not even talking to anybody.
But what I'm getting at is, other than that, looking out the windscreen is just air, right? And it has happened numerous times where we're sitting there cruising along. It's supposed to be smooth, and it is smooth for like an hour. And then all of a sudden, boom, you hit a rough with patch air. First thing, boom, seatbelt sign on. But you hope that everybody has their seatbelt on in the back because it's air. We can't actually see the bumps.
Sense. Like, do you get in a car and drive for the first 10 minutes, then take your seatbelt off when you get on the highway? No. Like, you don't. You shouldn't.
Well, but dude, but I mean, like I said, when I was younger, and when I was younger, we never wore seatbelts.
Yeah, but back then they didn't have seatbelts. Yeah, that was
they did, but
it's a different day and age now, and frankly, I think you're a fool for sitting in the back. Like if you're
sitting in the back at all.
Well, no, no. Thank you all for flying. Thank you. Let's talk about the detached garage and building. I appreciate it.
These days.
But I'll say it, like if you are in the back and you base wearing your seatbelt or not wearing your seatbelt on the seatbelt sign being on or not, then you don't understand any of what we say in safety briefs.
Wait a minute. That's how I base whether I smoke.
No. No, wait. I mean, there's basically what I'm trying to say is we can't accurately with 100% certainty predict the ride.
Yeah.
And then secondly, much like this, ATC and flight planners don't plan for these events to happen. Sometimes they do due to human error or whatever. So we can't, this event with Southwest and the Hunter was not planned. So that's a good reason to always have your seatbelt on just in case it's a bumpy ride or they have to do an aggressive maneuver because TCAS is directing them to do it. So it's always a good idea to have your seatbelt on, just like they say in the safety brief.
100%. 100%.
I would like to make a point.
Please.
So it's a trend item now. Anything that becomes a trend item becomes an emphasis item, right? You start to notice a little here and there. Obviously, it started the year with military aircraft, civilian aircraft, and we had the T-38 and the DCA stuff, and then we've had other incidents, and every time now it becomes a trend. Hawker Hunter, former military aircraft, currently being used by Contract Red Air for military training, whether it's intercepts or whatever, large force employment exercises, ship stuff, whatever they're doing, that's their purpose. If you notice, they had ADS-B, because that's why we see what they are, because everybody keeps screaming about ADS-B because they don't know what it means, but they heard a buzzword and they think that everything should have ADS-B because the B-52 didn't have it and the Black Hawk didn't have it, which, as you can see now, it does not matter because TCAS will work just based off your transponder, Mode 3 Charlie. So that's one part. The second part is facts matter. And when stuff like this happens, everything gets hyper political. Everybody starts to blame the FAA. They start to blame the military. They start to blame external factors that had nothing to do with this incident. This incident boils down to the controllers that either didn't give a point out or did give a point out, had a vector, whatever, and how the TCAS RA played out. That's what it boils down to as far as how the passengers fared out. Everything else, if the investigation reveals that the Hawker Hunter wasn't on his assigned altitude and course, that's part of it. But it's not a bigger issue. It's an emphasis item because of one major horrific event that now everything becomes a major horrific event. We have talked about this before, like you pointed out, Wombat. Military aircraft with our high rates of descent, speed, climbs, etc., tend to sometimes not play well with TCAS. And what mitigates that is having good air traffic controllers that give point outs early and good common sense reactions to stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, if that data was correct, which I'm not saying it was, because we don't have the official data, we just what it showed. If that data was correct, that's not even a near miss. That's 1 mile greater lateral separation and over 1,000 feet. That is just normal. That's correct. Inside of the bubble, so it's something that they talk about, but that is not a quote unquote near miss or near collision or anything like that. So the danger wasn't there. Why we're talking about it is because people were hurt based on the reaction. Sure. Now, whether that was system driven because they just did what happened or something else, we don't know, but it's not a symptom of something bigger. And I don't think these incidents are related at all, except that we as pilots need to continue to be vigilant, and we need to continue to train, because the only way to mitigate stuff like this is through training and good crew resource management.
100%.
That's it. That's my thing.
100%.